Okay. All right, now we're flying. Now we're still in the train. Now we start flying over, right, and we're throwing chocolate over. And I'm throwing chocolate. And he goes, "You're throwing too much chocolate over, and it's going to get caught in all the stuff, all their cars and the roads." And you're like, "How could you do that? We don't have that much chocolate." And he goes, "You'd be surprised. The chocolate just kind of expands. I'm Santa Claus. It's magic." And so as we're doing this, all of a sudden I realize, wait a minute, I'm Santa Claus. And this just gets better by the second. So now I'm Santa Claus. I'm getting up in the blimp even higher because I realize that as I look down, I see nothing but chocolate and a lot of mad Germans. So I'm thinking, okay, I've thrown too much chocolate down into Germany. I'm going to go over those mountains, over the Alps, and I'll throw some chocolate over there, and they'll be happy. So I get up, and I'm getting over the Alps, and I come back down, and there's another valley, and there's kids, and they're happy. So I'm throwing chocolate out, and I'm making sure there's not too much chocolate, but then I remember he says, don't throw too much chocolate out. It expands. It expands. So I'm like, so I look out, the whole valley's covered in chocolate again. I'm like, son of a gun, I barely threw anything out. So, okay, I'm like, what can I do now? And so I'm like, I go through this little, these two mountains, and I go in there, this mountain pass, and I come out valley. I throw a couple of pieces of chocolate out. I'm going to land and check it out. See, how this looks down there, because it looked like a nice valley, all green and everything. So I go in for, landing on because now I'm a train all of a sudden, the blimp train, whatever. So I land on the train tracks. There's chocolate everywhere. I just threw out a couple pieces. I'm thinking, you know what? Next year, someone else is doing this. Who's going to do it? My son. Because I ain't going to do this. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know how I made that machine part to begin with. So I go into this person's house, and he's like all freaking out because he's got chocolate all over inside of it. I'm thinking, how did the chocolate get in his house? He's like, I gotta get this chocolate out. And I'm thinking, well, he doesn't know I'm Santa Claus. And I look down, and I'm not Santa Claus. I'm me again. Okay. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll help you. And it's dark because of the chocolate. There's chocolate everywhere. And I look out, and there's people. Some of them happy because they like chocolate. Most of them very unhappy because there's too much chocolate. So I'm getting this guy, and I'm helping, and I notice there's ants starting to get all over the chocolate. And I'm like, this is a nightmare. Santa Claus, does he really do this No, I'm thinking, wait a minute, he gives toys. What's this chocolate deal? This is ridiculous. So I'm thinking, I got to get out of this somehow. So I'm like, I got to go. So I go, and I'm walking around, and I walk into these buildings, these big museums, and I look at, I'm like, well, this is nice. I can get to tour different countries in Europe, and I don't know where I'm at. And this museum is nice with, the parts that aren't caked in chocolate. So all of a sudden, it's dark. And I'm walking around, I'm like, I don't like this. It kind of reminds me of Hilldale, Arizona, if you know what I mean. For those of you who don't, it doesn't matter. For those of you who know what Hilldale or Colorado City and Arizona and Hilldale, Utah, all of a sudden it was that. I'm like, I gotta get out of here. This is too weird. So I'm trying to get out of there. And then all of a sudden, poof, I'm back in the my cousin's basement. But now there's little computers over there, but now it's all machine shop, and they're desperately working on new machinery for Santa Claus's train blimp chocolate destroyer thing. I'm thinking, no way. So I call up my son because he's good with this kind of stuff, computers. I go, come over, Vince. I go, you do this. Make this part, and he'll take it. And then Santa Claus pops up. No, you make the part, and you're going with me again. I'm like, no, I'm not going with you again. It was a nightmare because all of a sudden I turned into you, and then you, me, and blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking, this is crazy. Hold on. And it's crazy because I'm shot full of drugs. Not good drugs either. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. I mean, sometimes. Anyway, so I'm thinking I gotta get out of this. So Vince, my son, he's making this part, and I'm thinking, come on, dude, you gotta do it. You'll do it because I'm gonna not do it, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna, oops, I don't know what I'm doing. Bye, Vince. Have good luck there. So, anyways, he does it, and they take him. My mom comes flying out of nowhere. You can't let my grandson go on that thing. And now, if Vince is watching this, he knows how true this part would be. And I'm thinking, you know what? Let him go. It's a good experience for him. See ya. Go with Santa Claus and have fun turning into him and coating Europe in chocolate and having people mad at you and all sorts of craziness. Bye. And so, I know what happened after this. So then after that, I think I woke up for a little bit, and it was nighttime, for real, in the hospital, in ICU. I'm feeling weird, and they're taking blood from me and stuff. Let's see if I can wrap this. I might have to go into double overtime, because this will turn into something else. Okay, so I'm in the hospital. Oh, this is going to go too long. All right, they're taking blood from me. So now all of a sudden I remember, hey, I was a vampire. In a band in the 80s, I was a vampire, for real. Not a real vampire, but we were vampires. That was our thing. So I'm thinking, that's what I'm going to do when I get out of this hospital, is I'm going to put the band together again. We'll be vampires. Blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, this guy here... I don't know who that is. Hold on a second. Well, hold on. Hello? So, oh yeah, taking blood, and I'm like, and so I think I'm asking it, her, him. I mean, I'm sure it was a girl, but to me, it looked like a guy that was a rocker because of the long hair. I couldn't tell any difference because I'm drugged out of my mind. And they're getting to, ready to fill me with more drugs. So she does that, blah, blah, blah. Are you in pain? A little bit. I was always in pain. It hurt. Everything hurt. They done, taken my hip, replaced my hip, my knee, and all sorts of other crap, and done. It was a mess. I hurt everywhere, and I couldn't move. They had me in my feet blocked in like a little block thing, so I couldn't move, so I couldn't pop my leg or hip out of my socket and all. Oh, freaking nightmare. So they shot me up. Now I'm off. I'm off to this person that was giving me a shot is now in a band with me, and he's, her, it. I'm sorry, whoever you were. I'm just going to call you a her, it, a he, a singer. So now we're singing at the Whiskey, and we're in a band, and I'm playing guitar, and it's singing, and we had a drummer and a bass player, and we're playing all hits of the 80s, like Van Halen, Motley Crue, some Fatal Attraction, whatever we can think. That was my old band. We're playing all these hits at the Roxy, and everybody loves it. Oh yeah, we remember that 80s. Ooh. I'm thinking, why didn't anybody else ever think of this? A lot of people have thought of it, but up in Dreamland, no one thought of it. Okay, now all of a sudden, I'm back in the hospital, but the hospital, I'm going to have to go. I'm going to do part 3, because it's gone from chocolate over Germany to rap guys in Texas. Okay, so hold on.